So okay, welcome back to another live stream of Rail. So today for sure we are finishing the Trailblaze mission of the 3.2 finally. And I have a little bit of a surprise for you just as soon as we open game. So this was the surprise I was talking about. So I finally started to wail a little bit during this morning. So here we are. Um, I mean, to be honest, we haven't finished the 3.2, and I said that I was only going to wail if I actually liked the story. So, even though it was a little bit ridiculous in only one spot, I really feel that actually an access arc just paid the bill. Honestly, uh, the only part that I feel it was ridiculous was the perfect tie of the voting. That's the only thing I feel that it's like a plot shield, if you want to call it like that. But besides that, I really feel that actually the entire arc of an Hexagonal was very well done. Um, does it actually is worth all of this? Maybe not, but I mean I have to give them the credit that I mean it's not only the stories, actually also uh, animating it, right? So yeah, I mean, again, something that I have been saying quite a bit of time, right? I just feel that nowadays are very absurd and sometimes, how to say it, even grotesque type of like things are the only things that are uh, uh, out there for entertaining. And actually, I just feel that okay, uh, I'm just going to pay a little bit for this, right? I do not want uh, things to end up again like with other brands that I have like Ruby or things like that. But man, was just I mean wasn't even sold to an equity firm because supposedly it wasn't even worth that. Something like that. But okay. Okay. So here we are. Um, as you can see, this does not include still the big bill of like actually going for an Eric shards. But okay, I mean, I'm still thinking about that. I would in the case, depending on how what we do with the death core flame, yeah, that's pretty much what's going to be. Because again, I really feel that unfortunately the topic of death is like a very loaded type of topic, and I mean they try to give it some type of like interpretation, which I mean actually having um these twins as a symbol of death is actually quite nice. Uh, I'm sure there are plenty of cultures that have tried it before. And even to that respect, I think that even in Greek mythology, there's a little bit of that representation in there uh, between Thanatos and Hypnos. So one is the god of death, and the other one is the god of sleep. Um, and they are brothers, but I mean, there's some difference in their not exactly siblings, but there's some difference into the power. Here, there's a little bit of a shift, right? One actually grants the passageway to reincarnation, the other one to reincarnation in a reincarnated future, in a very, very future, and the other one just kind of like allows for a rebirth or resurrection, right? The other one is for reincarnation, the other one is for resurrection, kind of something like that. Which, okay, there's some theories. I understand that things are going to happen that are like kind of like chaotic, something like that. They really try something new in here. Yeah, I mean that representation at the end of like Castoris and her twin sister, that is something that I can appreciate with some nuance, and that was quite well done. Yeah, especially how both of them, especially the difference from when Castoris was like talking to the Soul of Neos and was like actually feeling betrayed by Thanatos or something like that. Um, whereas we can see at this point that actually at the end, Castoris is actually way past beyond having forgiven uh, Thanatos for kind of like creating her, right? Because I mean, here this would be a very interesting type of like um, Theocyclus. What's like Theocyclus, kind of? Let me check. Let me check if it's Theocyclus. Theseus. Theseus is the boat of Theseus, right? So this is kind of like an interesting boat of Theseus type of like paradox, right? Because I mean, again, unfortunately, even though Polixia was able to like remake Castor's Soul, unfortunately, it wasn't exactly Castor's, right? Because I mean, Castor's had no recollection of Polixia, so that's kind of interesting. And also, like in the process, actually, we are told that actually the titanhood of Polixia actually dies in the process, right? Which is kind of like weird, right? The only titan part remaining of Polixia was actually Castoris, but I mean, you could consider, right? Even though it's like a creation of Polixia, I mean, if it was selected, right? We still do not understand entirely how this works, right? But I mean, supposedly, um, Kefali is the creator of the entire world and is able to like recreate all of the people, all of the beings even, and not only the beings but everything else, right? And kind of like the other titans, in some way they also. So here's like the question I have, right? So in this process of rebuild, of rebirth, of metamorphosis of Horus, it's like each of the core flame. It's like this beacon that just holds the information of how like the conscious that is going to like drive that rule eventually or something like that, or um, like also is Kefali the one that creates the titans out of those consciousness and from the core flame. That's still a little bit tricky in there. But I feel that the core flames still act as this a beacon or cords that actually once like this metamorphosis comes through, they just hold like the information of how things need to be rebuilt, like like genes, right? Something like that. These core flames are like the genes of our cores or something like that. Granted, right? We would still need the rest of the structure, right? But kind of like carefully, it's like this gene and structure, base structure at the same time, right? At the same time. Yeah, right. So something that I wasn't liking about the preaching or something like, not exactly preaching, but I mean, let me check what's the best word in here. Okay, so the sermon. So the sermon that we have about all of these philosophies and perspectives about that, I'm really not into that. Um, that's kind of poetic, but unfortunately, I just feel that's not how to say it. I have no idea what's this. It's poetic, but I do not think it really solves nothing, right? I only think that it just works as actually, if you count the stellar jade on the nerd chart, it's just one temple. So, I think so. Yeah, it's actually less than a temple, right? Because that's just like 1,200. Okay, I got distracted. Um, what I was rambling about. So yeah, I just think that this poetry really does not help like solving the issue. It just allows to like live with it, right? That's kind of like the word. And there's a better word choice, but I do not have it right now, and I have already stalled too much the intro of this livestream. But okay, let's go. Um, and again, so something that I thought was going to happen is that like Castoris was going to need to go through the trial of that. Apparently, that's not going to happen because right now, uh, she needs to be back there, right? Um, do I do it already? Yeah, I'm going to do it already because otherwise this is going to kind of like break. And I mean, where are we? Like 80 and 4,000 behind, so let's close this. And here I'm going to go again for the one of remembrance, just in case eventually I try getting a remembrance character. Apparently, we aren't going to have Reen on the Fate collab, but okay, Archer is at least one copy is free, right? Meh, meh. I'm not that fan of Saber, to be honest, but I like Reen. Okay, so just remembering there's 80 more, so 600 in here. Technically, we have 4,000 more. So I don't know if the floor is going to be here or here. Yeah, 40,000, so it's 103. So it's 13. Okay, I will need to go back to the recording to actually check how much money was, how much credits was that. Because I think, yeah, that was 1, 3, 4, 4, and then we have the 3 zeros, right? 4 zeros. Huh, that would be like 13 million. I think it's not. It's just 1 million and 1. So, okay, we have these ones, okay. Let's check. I'm sure it was only 1 million of credits, maybe. Okay, let's do it.
I'm glad.
Ah!
But I don't see Castris among your number.
It looks like she not only helped me prove my theory, but helped you fulfill your mission as well.
I agree.
She might not have been able to change her fate, but she still wrote the final verse of her epic herself. Trinin, please recite the prophecy for us. Trailblazer, please surrender that scalding cool flame for us as well.
Skull. What's this? Okay.
You are the only life she ever saved by her own hand in her 1,000 years on this earth. I believe no one is more qualified for this noble task.
O gods who have returned, and gods who are still watching, today we bring you a soul laid bare. The Hand of Shadow, Thanatos, remembered their name from the past. From daylight they came, and to their fragrant dwelling they return, to walk now among your ranks. And there was one who joined hands with the Titan, a traveler risen from the dead, and reborn among mortal kind. She is the everlasting night, and shall now proclaim in her good name, O Majesty of the 12 Titans, pillars of the world. We seek your divinity to mend the rifts of the world. Fill our bodies with blood of gold, till we wither in willing service to the prophecy. Step forward, trailblazer from beyond the sky, and together with us, surrender the core flame and carve their star into the sky.
I mean, technically it's not a goodbye, right?
A constellation for death.
For life and death, to be more precise.
Look, it's...
So, yeah, right, because through the echoes of Augusta, they can still communicate with her, right?
No, it's only a divine echo. I think she's here for the trial.
So, who's now the demigod of death?
What did she say?
Because I mean, technically Stella now is the demigod of time, right?
That's the language of the Titans. Castor is... no. The Titan.
Ah, so it's the only one that is called then. The other ones are just later, but this one is called then. So, now I'm confused, right? Because, so is... So Castor is technically right now the Titan already? Or how does it work now?
They said... I have illuminated the cold shadow of death.
Onwards. For your path to the future is bright and its flame eternal. Do not forget.
Huh.
She made quite a scene. I suppose it's my turn now.
I won't stop you.
Professor, you...
What's with that look? You were present. So, let's get this execution over with. We wouldn't want to bring shame to Akuma's divine laws or keep me from creating a new world.
You never change, do you, Professor? I don't understand. If your theory is correct, you'll lose all memories of your past life once you become a Titan. So what's the point of becoming a god?
Of course there's a point. Even if I forget who I am, I'll still have my brilliant mind.
Okay, I'm not sure that's going to be enough.
It goes without saying, I'll find a way to retrieve memories of my past life. Besides, I still have you, don't I?
I still don't really understand what you said during the assembly. Even if it were true, things reforged from memory could never be the same as the original anyway.
Of course they can. That's the whole point of Fully.
Then allow me to tell you right now that you're wrong. What exactly are we? My answer is that the Chrysos heirs are the future Titans and vice versa. Of course, this answer only applies to us. So, what are we when it comes to regular mortals? The very essence of the world, our souls, are tiny invisible seeds that hold records of each person's memories of the world. And we are the buds that sprout from these seeds to grow into great trees.
Is that what new sporism means?
Correct. Once our physical bodies are born, we become new extensions of the world. From there, we plant our seeds into someone's memories, and then scatter them into the hearts of countless people in the future. Just as seeds are affected by their environment, so too will our appearances differ across memories. But the partial memories we carry will always be the same, because that is just how the world is.
I'm not entirely sure about this phrase.
To destroy our very existence, one must destroy the world itself. But we have someone who will still live on with his perfect memory. That person is you, child of Kefali. This is what it means to be the world-bearing Titan.
Oh, that's true, right? So that's why it is said that he's the only one that's going to be able, right? And he knows that's the case because when he talked to Kefali, Kefali was able to tell him how it was before the era Nova, right?
So, carry everything of this world and live on. Don't disappoint those most precious to you. Don't disappoint Lady Goldweaver. And especially, don't bring dishonor to my theory.
Anaxa, I swear to you, I'll lead everyone to our reunion in the new world.
Good. That is all I have to say. Farewell, everyone. May we meet again in the next life.
Farewell, great performer. May Circes safeguard your thoughts.
May Circe safeguard your thoughts.
Are you satisfied, Honorable Titan?
Very. I hereby swear I have borne witness. Anaxagoras of the New Sporists and the Grove of Epiphany has successfully overcome the trial of reason. Thus, I shall confer upon you these words. You shall transcend the peaks of purity and return to corruption and hardship.
Oh, so that's a god's prophecy. It sounds like you just rephrased my past, present, and future. Oh, Circes. Is that all you've got?
Well, you've already transcended the peaks of purity, and you were never the type to give me any leeway.
That is true.
But I do still have one question.
I knew it. What is it? Maybe we're thinking of the same thing.
As you've so boldly stated, we and the world itself live on through the memories of others. If that is the case, whose memories did the very first new spore sprout from?
How should I know?
She.
Oh my.
But, since we are both equally curious, we should allow the children of humanity who come after us to investigate in our stead. Rejoice, Circes. I sow the seeds of suspicion in the new world with your soul!
And now, the objective is complete. That is all.
Oh man.
Thankfully, she's still alive. Was March 7th also in this condition when she was first rescued by the Express?
Her condition was very similar, it's just that at that time the Express did not have any people who could diagnose her condition.
But she still woke up naturally. Looking on the bright side, that might happen this time as well.
In March, awakened from the ice, her memories were completely wiped clean. I want to prepare for the worst and prevent something like that from happening again. Can you share with us your hypothesis?
I do not have conclusive evidence, but judging by her current condition, perhaps March 7th's memories have been hijacked.
Oh, hey Jack.
Think about it, Miss Himiko. What will happen when someone loses their ability to remember?
I'm not a biologist, but I hear that there's of a species of fish on one walk that has the memory span of less than a second. If it forgets anything that occurs in the very next instance, perhaps something similar will happen.
Unfortunately, short-term memory is an entirely different concept from the inability to remember. Perhaps it is difficult for you to imagine, but an individual who has lost their ability to remember turns into nothingness.
Nothingness.
The belief of the Garden is that everything in this universe can be interpreted through memories. This is the driving force behind the continuance of this path. The past is made up of memoria, while the future is a possibility that will eventually be converted to memoria. But the present, it doesn't really exist, and it's only an abstract expression. Therefore, when a person is affected by the path and loses their ability to remember, their physical form will also be affected. These ice crystals are a manifestation of that.
Miss Blackstone, there is one thing that I haven't looked into deeply until now. You have guided us to forest but refused to tell us your true intentions. Collecting memories is simply not a convincing answer.
Is Miss Himiko suspicious of me?
Not only her, everyone. I mean no offense, I'm merely speculating, but I will appreciate your honesty if possible.
In other words, now is the time for me to prove my innocence.
Uh, which is garbage, because you can always say that you just went crazy.
That's not a problem, of course. The true reason behind my intentions is that Amphorius holds special significance. For some memo keepers of the Garden with extremist views, it is a perfect example.
Perfect example of what?
A world that can only be seen through the Garden's mirror means that memo keepers have the right to keep the world in their private collection. If those pathstriders of remembrance were to uncover the secrets of Amphorius first.
A world that can only be seen through the gardens. Which again, I'm still kind of like wondering how is I just missed that memo in there about how is that the gardens mirror actually worked. But okay, if those best riders of remembrance well concur this
They might unleash their wild ambitions and remodel more worlds into a similar form.
Okay. So the reason you did everything you could to convince the Express to come to this star zone just to uncover the secrets and for the plans of these people. Oh, interesting. So, I mean, it's cool in a way that actually you are starting to see the intricacies within each of the factions. So previously, it was the intricacy of the harmony, right? So the harmony has this kind of like tumor inside of it, which is the order, and here we actually see that actually some extremists, or probably even high commands inside of the memo keepers, uh, actually want to impose kind of like their laws or their will upon other systems, right?
I chose to remain quiet before because I did not want to involve you in the Garden's internal conflicts.
Oh man, I mean it's interesting, right? You would imagine that if they are memo keepers, There are just memories. They're all peacefully with themselves. But we were actually told by Black Swan back in Penacony that actually each of the memo keepers in surrounding Penacony had their own motives, right? And actually, there could well be the memo keeper being the one that actually uh, kept us. It's clearly a memo keeper, the one that actually kept us. Well, the Trailblazer kept the Trailblazer alive for all this time, right? Because we are told actually by Custer is that okay, your soul has been kept intact, right? Which okay, it really looks like okay inside Amphorius, okay, their term is the soul, while actually clearly Amphorius is this uh, how to say it, this pure environment representing the remembrance, right? So literally here everything are memories, and clearly that is keeping true with all of the idea of uh, this reincarnation, this rebirth, uh, and this metamorphosis where the world is revealed again and again, just through memories alone, almost only through memories alone. Um, and to some degree, that kind of also explains how is that Oryx works, right? Because I mean, just let me cook a little bit in here. If literally this world is like this world that is in the constant rebirth, kind of something that happens in here is that time kind of like works as a spatial dimension in here, in the sense that clearly it can be uh, willfully traversed, something like that. Interestingly, I mean, to some degree, this goes along with this idea that it will be like a black hole, something like that, in the sense that the time dimension is kind of like warp in a way that actually you can go back and forth, right? Um, I mean, you still have the fate and all of that, but again, time can go forward, even though in here is kind of a cycle, right? So we have carefully that at some point remembers all of the past, but after the world is created, okay, Ornix is like this, um, how to say it, mm, record of all that has happened um, in a forest, right? Something like that. Okay, I mean, just as I was saying, I hadn't seen uh, the end of Anaxagoras. I mean, that was an amazing animation. Okay, I'm going to give them the credit on that. I may go for the whale pack. Remodeling world is no easy feat. In this extreme, like they aren't just but simple past riders, do they wield the powers of emanators? Ha! Here we have it. Finally. So you might remember that at some point when we are in the early game, uh, we were told by Welt, or I do not remember who, that all memo keepers are emanators of remembrance. My hypothesis when we were in Penacony is that the reason why actually uh, like the beings, the memo keepers weren't able to like actually control the situation, uh, and actually like just the remembrance of the order like took over them, is because actually like these memories of the order together with actually the heavenly core, something like that. The thing that Sunday becomes, those are actually emanators, right? Those are other memories of them, of like literally Anna's dream, and we have literally the emanator from the harmony, right? Um, the high chorus or something like that, right? And just because of that, unfortunately, uh, right now, it looks like Black Swan is not exactly an emanator, right? It's very powerful memo keeper, but it's not an emanator, right? So as she mentioned it, even though she's um, or it looks like she's an absolute mythoman. That's it in English. Uh, mythomaniac. Even though she looks like I mean, again, my perspective from her after Penacon is that she's a psychopath and a mythomaniac. There's there's nothing that's making me change my opinion until now, but okay. And even now, that opinion hasn't changed. I still feel that she's a psychopath and a mythomaniac. Okay, fine, okay. Um, but okay. So the she told us that actually she lost her mind, right, in Telecom, even though clearly she looked very her full senses when she was playing around with Sample and Sparkle. And actually, that's an entire thing about those side missions about how it's like Sample or Sparkle actually able to like go through the dream. It's not entirely sure about my sense. It could be that they are actually also emanators, right? Of the exaltation, maybe. So that's why they are like fit for actually going around Penacony even and ignore any stream. And probably they also were given a hands up thanks to Silverwolf, something like that looks like was the point. Um, and technically Silverwolf was given an even bigger heads up uh, from uh, Elio, right? Um, but but um, okay, she was told that okay, she just lost her mind and was caught also in Enostream as almost everyone else, right? We actually see that actually the kind of like the only one that was impervious to the Enostream, a full impervious to Enostream was Acheron, right? Um, and we were hinted out that that was on one part because she was an emanator, and to some degree we also see that on Boothio, kind of. Um, but also, I mean, there we have the fact that okay, she's not only an emanator, but she's an emanator from Nihility. So it looks like one of the perks of being an emanator of Nihility is that on one side, okay, you are kind of like uh, impervious to like the doings of other paths or something like that. And specifically, at least to what we were told by the Dream Master, is that literally that's the opposite side of the order, right? Even though the order is no longer out there, literally being the self-annihilator is literally the opposite of the order, right? Because if the order is kind of like survival, is like the yeah, right, like in the order, something that we see, even though it's like a misnomer to call it just the order, is that literally uh, we see that kind of like what after all the philosophy of the order is that it is uh, survival to the last breath, right? I mean, um, or more than survival to the last breath is like uh, the survival of all, right? So we have already had like a lot of paths until this point that like play around with their paths, making them not entirely what you would expect from the path. Kind of like all of the paths until this point kind of are like misnomers, right? That you would expect that like preservation would have like the philosophy that we saw on the order, but actually we see that actually kind of like actually what's behind preservation is actually the willpower, right? The willpower to continue. Whereas we also would imagine that the abundance is kind of like this idea of the survival, right? Um, Survival is beyond everything, right? But we do not have that, right? We actually see that the abundance is just uh, uh, the continuation of courage or something like that. It looks like to be that. Um, no, or at least that's what we get from talking to um, the wolf, right? That wolf in there. So it looks like actually what's behind abundance is not just the preservation of life. Uh, it really looks like it's actually the continuation of courage. Um, and um, to some degree, I had seen also this uh, observation that actually erudition is not just having knowledge and intelligence, but actually it does look that actually um, the path of erudition is just this veneration for curiosity, right? Um, and for observation beyond anything, right? I mean, kind of that's like the critique on the mission of that we have with Dr. Reisha and Ron May, right? So kind of like all the erudition members of the genius societies, they just feel that okay, uh, being a being in charge of just observing in order to gain understanding or something like that, beyond any other moral perspective, is the only thing that's good, right? Um, and so now, again, we have remembrance, right? So remembrance at the beginning, it just felt, or something that I remember is that okay, remembrance had like already this idea that okay, the destruction of the universe was going to happen, right? We have the eon of destruction. And so, okay, their plan is to preserve the memories, and even if the world is destroyed, the memories will come back. I'm kind of like questioning in there that idea. Um, until this point, actually, whereas we were seeing that kind of like the memo keepers were strong, then kind of they got capped just for plot reasons or something like that. Um, kind of. Um, right, right. I mean, they were subjugated in Penacony through Enostream. Uh, it looks like later on we saw that they were actually just uh, trapped or like let's say held hostage or something like that by just one disciple of Dr. Primitive. And later we see that they literally got captured in a very gruesome manner by Hertha, right? So, um, they aren't exactly the most strong being right now in the universe, at least not on average. Not your average memo keeper is literally this super strong person, right? Being. Uh, at the beginning, they really look like really dope, right? But it looks like actually there are even more powerful beings around, right? Which I mean is kind of like got the best of me in one of my predictions, right? Because I thought that actually, like Insect and Akoni, actually, like the bosses were going to be the memo keepers. And it just didn't happen like that. Even though they literally the planet was made of their own turf, which is Memoria, or heavily made it out of Memoria, they weren't able to pay the bill, right? I mean, okay. Um, so at least here we have this point. Frankly, not all memo keepers are emanators, or we will right now see what this Black Swan says.
You can be even bolder with your guesses. The people that I'm talking about, they aren't just individuals. They are an organization that has already attached itself to the pinky finger of Fu Li.
Huh. Could they be the ones who hijacked the March 7th memories?
I cannot be certain, but at the very least, they are capable of doing so. I am deeply sorry about what has happened to March 7th. But the deal that I propose still remains a fair one. Amphorius is still an excellent destination, and investigating further might allow us to uncover the truth behind the accident. Miss Himiko, the wisest choice right now is for us to continue cooperating.
Ha 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 ha. What's that? This is something around here happening. What's wrong?
Let me take back a part of what I said just now, Miss Himiko. Although we indeed struck a deal, it seems like I have involved you in some unforeseen danger. Please accept my deepest apologies.
What she saw? What did she saw? I mean, I just saw some vortex happening in there in a forest, but I have no idea what's happening. What's the danger? Has something changed?
It's Fu Li. Their gaze has just swept across Amphorius.
Oh, how
Man,
interesting. I never expected a mere memo snatcher to be actually hiding so much inside her head. What's even more interesting is that the word Amphorius has appeared in her subconscious.
This lady seems to be having fun. Is she usually like this?
It's hard to explain.
What are you two whispering about? Has it not occurred to you that I can hear everything clearly?
Please pardon me, Madam Herta. Would you mind sharing with us what you've discovered?
The ones who need help are the Astral Express. You will have to put up with my methods, even if they are rather unconventional.
I mean, I really have to like give them like they have literally changed the entire character that we had about Herta, because at the beginning we thought that okay, she's a megalomaniac genius, okay, but a self-centered megalomaniac genius, okay, but we haven't, or we kind of like had this idea that at least she had a little bit of a moral compass, right? Like it was like the exception from the other geniuses, where okay, we had already been revealed that Ronne has no moral compass, as Chrome has very little, almost paper thin moral compass, and we cannot say about like the uh, the silent, the yeah, Dr. Primitive and all of them, right? Uh, but in here, being kind of like even, how to say, sadistic at this point with the Nemo Snatcher. Um, kind of like we are seeing that Herta really does not have that much of a moral compass.
Let's get back to the topic. By using the fourth mirror, I rummaged through the brain of this memo snatcher and learned a good deal.
I'm still wondering what's like the point with all of these mirrors, but okay.
Not only does this person know of Emphorius, but there are also many memo keepers who are interested in the place. I searched through her consciousness and found the following terms: the Eternal Land, the Rejected Land, and the private collection of the Garden of Recollection.
The private collection.
It seems like Miss Black Swan is indeed hiding some things from us.
Since I'm not able to find any useful clues from the outside, why don't I personally visit this mysterious Emphorius?
I mean, I saw like the promotional video for the 3.3. I'm really curious about what's going to happen to the next rebirth of Amphorius if literally Kurt is there to witness it. That's kind of like a huge variable, right? A huge variable change. How can Kurt literally change the entire way that that process will occur?
You're planning to head to Amphorius yourself?
Yes, but not in the flesh like you all foolishly did. See these Herta mirrors? With them, I can project my data spirit entity to any corner of the cosmos through spatial warps, without even needing to leave my room. But of course, these corners of the cosmos must be within the coverage zone of inter-astral peace communications. After all, this is collaborative technology.
I see. You do seem like the more indoor type.
Although that star zone is not within the network of the IPC, the Express itself can serve as a signal station. Come, give me the astral chart coordinates. Then, sit back and enjoy the show.
Whoa. Well, shares the Astral Express coordinates with Herta.
All right, now that everything is ready, mirrors, get to work.
I did not have Herta. Yeah. Ah, we have her. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Herta. Companions are the lifeblood of the Astral Express. When things are settled, we will repay you for all your help.
I mean, technically, she owes for the for the space station.
Wilt, this young man sure is courteous.
Madam, watching you work has been an enlightening experience for me. It's hard to imagine that an outstanding scholar like you could maintain such a relaxed manner most of the time. Your calm and collected nature is truly a trait that I should learn.
This brat. Why does everything that comes out of his mouth sound so snarky? First mirror, input the coordinates. You'll be in charge of the spatial warp.
As you command, Madam Herta. The preparations are complete. I wish you a pleasant journey ahead.
Second mirror, prepare for the thought refraction. There's still some distance from the Astral Express to the Emphorius celestial body. You're in charge of sending me over. This time, raise the power to the maximum. Don't be stingy.
Oh, okay. I won't fail the mission, Madam Herta.
second mirror. You're in charge of generating the data spirit entity.
I'm happy to help, Madam Herda. What kind of appearance are you planning to use this time?
Good question. Let me think. Forget it. Just use my own appearance. There's no one there that'll recognize me anyway.
Huh, questionably.
As you wish.
By the way, the fact that she's actually using the
The
mirrors.
fourth mirror, you'll be in charge of... It seems like I have nothing for you. Just stand by and wait for orders.
Ah, standing by again. That's so boring. Next time, can you count off of one step?
I mean, kind of like the fact that she's actually not leaving the space station and just using this method kind of like fits my theory that actually she's using all of her capacities to actually avoid the other geniuses. I haven't seen this animation. Oh man, I really hadn't seen this animation before. I had seen the other one of like the mirrors, but I hadn't seen that one. Okay. I mean, I actually got the sticker right for her. What I was going about. So I almost, yeah, I really need to leave almost. So I'm just, but okay. So something that I was saying is that, yeah, she's kind of like using all her means to avoid the other members, avoid directly the other members of the Genius Society, because she clearly knows that all of the other members are a threat, right?
Preparation of the data spirit entity complete. Thought refraction at max power. Excellent. First mirror. Let's get going.
Have a safe trip, Madam Herta.
May your journey yield good results.
Coordinates input complete. Preparing to activate spatial warp. Destination, unknown celestial body. Amphorius. Spatial warp countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warp activated.
Oh! So that's Amphorius? Its appearance is, well, sure is unique. Second mirror. Prepare for thought refraction. It's time to send me in.
Alright, please read the safety protocols carefully.
Can't you hurry up?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't expect it to be so turbulent. I should have asked the second mirror to use slightly less power. What a magnificent sight! Is this the entrance to Amphorius? Let's see. Perhaps I'll be able to find a way in. What's this? A statue? It's ugly. I don't like it.
That's the river, right? Here is Estelle and her.
What's this? Oh, how creepy. Oh, it moves? Who are you trying to scare?
I mean, literally all of Amphorus is trying to defeat this guy, and Hurt is just like, yeah, nothing.
Oh, I finally found your traces. How esteemed must you be for the great Herda to come out personally? When we return, get ready to become free labor for the simulated universe for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, expected from Carta.
It's either a projection or a fake. There doesn't seem to be much to take note of. Now then, how am I going to get into Amphorius?
My deepest apologies, esteemed lady. I'm afraid that you cannot proceed further.
Unexpected.
Who's there?
Your visit, although not part of my calculations, is a pleasant surprise. It's a pity that the preparations are not yet in place to receive you with the hospitality that someone of your status deserves.
So as I was expecting, right, Lagos is going to become a more important character. And again, here we have the symbolism that has no heart, and we thought that actually Lagos was beholden to Canis, but clearly he worked together with Anaxa, or understood what Anaxa was doing just to betray Canis, right? I really thought that actually the betrayal was just in aspect of pure spite. But actually it looks like he's more powerful than what meets the eye.
Are you not going to answer my question? Who are you?
I have many identities, and I'm going to have even more in the future. But if you just need a form of address, you can use my common alias, Lycurgus. Lygus.
All right, Lygus. But you can't possibly think that I'm just asking for a name, can you?
Regrettably, I do not have the authority to share more information. However, standards are always flexible. While not violating the ultimate agreement, I'm able to disclose this piece of information. As you thought, this is the entrance to Amphorius. Now, please, kindly turn back. Amphorius is not a world that you should be involved with, regardless of what kind of magnificent achievements you have accomplished. This place will not open its doors so easily.
You seem to understand me very well. Then you should know that I have no reason to listen to you.
Your reaction is completely within my calculations. Despite my long years as a watcher, it seems like my assessment of human nature still remains accurate. From you, I'm able to sense a beautiful desire for knowledge. But my answer remains unchanged. Madam, it is with the utmost goodwill that I suggest you return to where you came from.
Let's assume for a second that I'm not so well-mannered, and that I insist on uncovering the secrets hidden behind you, Mr. Lygus. How do you plan to dispel this notion of mine?
Within the scope of the ultimate agreement, there are 178,244 logic chains at my disposal to convince you. After filtering through them, I have determined that I only require 3 to attain the results that I desire.
Oh? I'm all ears.
First, for reasons that cannot be disclosed, Amphorius is a completely isolated celestial body. Apart from me, no one else will be able to help you enter.
That's not a good argument.
Second, if your plan is, as you've alluded to previously, to force me into cooperating by showing hostility. Do know that, just like you, I have basked in the gaze of the erudition. I stake my honor and assure you that in the worst case scenario, our mutual destruction will be inevitable.
Oh, so we actually have seen what's the source of the erudition in Euphorius. Unexpected, actually.
Oh, no wonder I couldn't find a back door. When I did a scan of our surroundings, the safety protocols on you are comparable to Screwy's. How interesting.
I assume that you still wish to hear the third logic chain.
Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Third, even if you exhaust all your means and find a way to break through, you will surely give up once you understand the consequences of your actions. After all, throughout your long life, as much as you'd hate to admit, your conscience has played a crucial role.
What a brazen robot. You think that you can actually understand me through your paltry calculations? But since you put it that way, why don't you tell me what these consequences will be?
It concerns the third path that is entangled with Amphorius. A path that you and your friends still very much lack understanding of. The destruction. So, if you ignore my warnings and persist in your ways...
Destruction. So that's the third part after all.
You will break the shackles of a Lord Ravager. And when that happens, their fury will engulf the cosmos.
Oh, so Euphorius is a jail for a Lord Ravager. So going back to this kind of black hole theory, just that a super sophisticated black hole, or more like an interdimensional prison. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, that can wait for another moment. I just want to look what is that I got in here. Okay. So there are more things in here. Interesting. I had no idea. Okay, this will be renewed later. So that didn't count it. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh. I do not know how much is like for the big packet, the well packet, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting the destruction path to be actually the one that, so yeah, I'm going for that. Oh, barely, man. How was I supposed to know that? Okay, well, a lot of thanks for passing by. I never really got into the game, into the story. It really was a lot to take in. Was great. Was a lot. It was great. Well, we'll see us on the next one. Well, thanks for passing by. And bye.